All right. Hey, everybody. Sorry. Welcome to Entrepreneur.ish. We are back for our second episode of the day, and we are here with Chef Kristen
yes.
Willis. And we have a really, really good show for you guys. Today, we are going to talk about everything from the plant-based craze. We're going to talk about getting hit on at work, because I'm sure that happens to you. Happens to me, girls. We're going to talk about it. And we are going to really kind of dive into your journey and how you keep going and how you have turned something that people do every day into a business, because I think that is absolutely brilliant and something we have to talk about. And we're going to talk about all the places you've been and what you've done so far. And the first thing that y'all really need to do, first, follow me at Entrepreneur.ish Podcast on Instagram, and also go to my YouTube and follow me at Entrepreneur.ish so that you guys can see all of these little clips and watch my other seasons and get to know me a little better. So yeah. Also, wait, we got some shout outs. We got some Bosty shout outs. I'm so excited. So Bosty shout outs are where I talk to other entrepreneurs that have reached out, and we talk about their products and what they have going on. Okay. So because it's Mother's Day, we have a lot of different discounts. So we're going to talk about those throughout the show. Okay. But the first one we're going to talk about is Lola from the Lola Effect. If you guys use the code Entrepreneur.ish, you will get 10% off of any of her hair services, which is unheard of. What hairdresser do you know that gives a discount? Like, I love it.
In the hair capital of Atlanta.
Right, exactly. Not in Atlanta. That does not happen, but it's only for our entrepreneurs viewers. So definitely check her out. TheLolaEffect.com. And yeah, so let's meet Kristen.
Hello.
Hi. So we might recognize you from Netflix Pressure Cooker.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what else do we like? Who are you? Because honestly, I saw the show before we even got to talking. Yeah. Shout out to Michael P. He was on the show 2 weeks ago, and he introduced me to you.
That's amazing.
So thank you so much for that.
Yes.
And yeah, introduce yourself to everybody.
So I'm Kristen Willis. I'm from the city of Atlanta, so this is my hometown city that I love so much.
You're not a transplant.
No,
Yay!
This is home base
Another
for
native.
Me. But yeah. January, Pressure Cooker launched on Netflix, so that has been a trending top 10 show, and it's been such an amazing journey so far since that came out. But I've been on the Today Show, I've been on Food Network twice, and lots of local news channels, lots of media coverage, but I've been at this for 18 years, so this has definitely been a journey, and not something that I just turned the page overnight and was like, hey, I'm going to be a chef, or hey, I'm going to be on TV. This has been such a process that I've worked on for quite a long time.
Wow. I'm glad you said that, because I think a lot of times, and we talked about this a little bit in our last episode, we look at the pinnacle as our reference, and we don't think about how long it took that person to get there, and we don't think about their journey. We just feel like, oh, they're famous because we just found out about them that day. Does not mean that they weren't around this whole time before then. So like, we get to talk about all of that during the interview portion, but in the beginning, I always like to start off with trending topics, because there's everything going on in the world, and I always like to hear people's opinions on it.
Let's go.
Yes. So the very first thing that I absolutely loved about your episodes were that you talked about your diversity and being a woman in such a male-dominated field. Let's talk about that. Like diversity in the kitchen. Like how is that?
As far as just being Black in the kitchen, being biracial in the kitchen, so I mean, it's an interesting dynamic, because at one point women did rule the kitchen, and that slowly became a male-dominated field. But then, being in the South, it became a white male-dominated field in the city of Atlanta, and that has been like the white tatted chefs. I mean, no hate on that, but it's just been the cover image
Other people
of
cook.
what a chef should look like, and you know, and you cannot move up, and it's so hard to see that, because it's like, that was the image of being an executive chef, and if you didn't fit that mold, you know what I mean, you can work your ass off, but you know what, you only go so far.
Wow.
But within the past 5 years, that has totally changed, and that has been such a beautiful shift, just because, you know, you cannot just pinpoint somebody into a field, right? And there's so much awakening happening, and there's so much talent that's blossoming in the city. And it's just a beautiful thing to experience. But at the same time, it's like, wow, what has taken so long?
Right.
And I started off in the restaurant. And starting off, like when I was 15, just for fun, just to make some money, I didn't even think this was going to be a career choice. But the way that it did, evolve was like, okay, wow, the reason why I got out of it is because I had a lot of hate, a lot of shaming, a lot of hate, a lot of, in the kitchen, you gotta have thick skin. And so I developed this thick skin, but it was also like tearing me apart.
Okay,
so,
what's something that you've heard? Because I want some of the people who might have heard the same thing to understand how you grew a thick skin after that. If you can say it, like, I mean,
just anybody. Like, we've watched tons of like cooking shows, right? And it's like you can have an image of it, but until you step into a kitchen, the only one that I can think of is that show, The Bear, on Hulu.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that has been such a real thing. I mean, they kind of Hollywooded a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they have to.
It's real. Slinging pots and pans, cursing, you know what I mean? Walking out on your shift, being left alone.
Wow.
Like, all those dynamics, it's like, you have to work together as a system. So in the kitchen, it's a brigade. So it is a old school system because you can't do anything as a one person show. So everybody has to pull in their part, work together as a team, one dream. But seeing like when your ship goes down and you've got to be 3 hands in the kitchen and helping, like you develop tough skin. When you're getting cussed out on the line, you develop tough skin. You know what I mean? When you get these burns, you get these scars, and you get these battle wounds, tough skin.
You know what? I worked at Chipotle for 9 months, and I'll never do it again. So shout out to you guys.
Honestly, but listen, I recommend everybody should at least have one restaurant or kitchen
No, you
experience.
need it. You need
no matter how long, even if it's 5 days.
You will be so nice to people after that. I remember this one guy ordered a burrito that was like full of sour cream, and then he got mad at me because I couldn't roll it, and I'm like, it's wet. And then he was like, that's why you work at Chipotle, because you're so dumb. Little did he know I was going to school for neuroscience. So I was like, I'm probably smarter than you are, but okay, it's fine.
You hear it all.
Yeah, you hear crazy stuff from people in the service industry. It's nuts.
It's really insane. And I was always so weak as a kid. I would just like anything, like something could hit me and I would like cry. And now I've just become this like, okay, boss from the exterior version of me. But yeah, it's crazy how you have to develop as you go.
Yeah, I love it. When I saw you and who was the other chef, Renee? Yeah, when I saw
shout
both
out
of you guys,
to Renee Blackman.
Yes, when I saw both of you guys on the show, I was like, oh my gosh, there are Black women in the kitchen, and and they don't look like what you would call a chef look, like you said, tatted and all this other stuff where it's just like, I love seeing you guys on there, and I know you inspired a lot more people when you were on there. I do want to talk about the show. We're going to do this a little later. We are going to do that a little later.
But I will say, carrying your individuality into whatever door that you walk into really, really elevates you. Wow. And staying true to that, because when I walked on that show, I was like, okay, you know, I do like to be girly. I do like to dress up.
I loved it. And I loved your outfits. And I was like, okay, you can wear cute things and be a chef. I won't
necessarily cook in heels all the time. But I do, like, when I do want to be glammed up, like, to the T, you know? But then sometimes it's like, nah, I want to be in the kitchen, like, tomboyed out, you know? And that's okay. Like, to show both sides. So, like, with anything, I hope that did resonate with people.
I love that. Yes, because everybody has all different sides. What do they say? They have, like, glam or homeless. Like, that's kind of my in between.
We're giving rich mom today, or we're giving like real mom.
I'm just like that. Like when I have my glasses and you guys can see my tracks, it's not a day that I'm filming. We're not filming that day. That's a me day.
Hilarious.
Okay, so another thing I wanted to talk about with inflation and everything, food costs have gone up. I know for me, living in the city, I would find eggs for like $6. And they used to be like $2.
Sure.
How has that kind of affected your industry and what you do and your business, honestly?
I would say this, like, this is nothing new for chefs to see this type of increase. This is new for the consumers to feel it.
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
Because, yeah, I mean, produce, and it depends on where we are getting our produce or our goods, or, you know, where the farm is located. We're all supporting that source from the beginning. And say there's a drought, or say, you know what I mean, there just aren't enough workers on the farm, or something's struggling in one type of area, you will feel that increase as a chef, because we're ordering food. So this is something that we're navigating all the time as chefs, especially like if something isn't in season, then the price is going to be higher. If it is in season, there is an abundance of it, right? So it's something that I feel like, yes, the industry as a whole, especially coming out of COVID, was drastically different than anything we've seen in a really, really long time as chefs. And I'm not in the restaurant industry anymore, but I can tell that's when restaurants are going to take things off their menu, right? Yeah. We just can't buy it. It just doesn't make sense to, you know, even get skirt steak or whatever the case may be. We're going to drop that menu item. And, you know, when that time comes, we'll put it back. Yeah.
Okay. So has that affected, so what do you do on a daily basis, since you said you're not in the kitchen?
So I'm not in the kitchen anymore. So 7 years ago, I started my private chef business. And that is a luxury service where, as a private chef versus a personal chef, I walk into your home and I have maybe 2-3 families that I cater to on a regular basis.
Okay.
And this isn't something that's turn and burn, a new client every week, which that's fine as a personal chef. I've done that before too. But building that relationship as a private chef, I've gotten to like grow with my families, grow with my clients. Yeah. For 4 or 5, 6 years, and really just like transform their life and give them time back. So that is my main love, and I've been doing it for so long. But I've transitioned into TV, into media, into working with brands recently.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you.
Look at the growth. Okay.
There's been a lot.
But you did say 18 years. Yeah, you should grow in 18 years.
Absolutely.
It makes sense.
Yes.
So in your private chef life, have you seen a change to a lot of plant-based? I have noticed that, well, at least not in Atlanta. Atlanta's a little slow. We still really like our chicken wings.
Where are you
like
from?
Not from here.
Oh, you are from here.
From
Okay,
here.
so you know.
So, but like if I go to Cali, I cannot find chicken. Like it's very hard for me to find anything that's not plant-based. And if I go to a lot of different other cities, it's mostly plant-based. And
absolutely.
if I go to an event, they always have a plant-based option, things like that.
Yep.
Has that been a trend that you see in your business?
You know what? I mean, but different regions are different for a very specific, you know, type of clientele almost. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if you go to California, they're very health conscious, and they have been for such a long time. So it's like that pan-coastal type of cuisine. It's like flavorful but light, you know, but very rich in what the produce that they have in that area, versus like we're in the South and things are heavier and comfort food.
Yeah, you
feel
could
good
not
moments,
give me a
right?
cauliflower pizza. It's not gonna work.
You know what I mean? Like you eat 10 wings and then you're lethargic on the couch. You're like, what did I just eat? But it was so good. And then you go to Chicago and it's just so different, in New York, and it's just like the abundance of food up north is just like, wow, like, you know, it's almost like you want to do a whole food tour up there.
What's your favorite place to eat?
Favorite place to eat? I feel like I don't have a favorite.
Yeah, like our city? Like a favorite city?
I have favorite cities, for sure.
What's your favorite city to eat?
New York is going to be number one.
Okay.
New York is going to be number one. I just, like, I fall in love with that city every time I'm there. Wow. I remember last year I was there. I went there, like, every other month.
Wow.
You know, and it was just such a fun time, like, everything from Asian food was so much better. The pasta was so much better. The pizza, of course. You know what I mean? Yeah. The rooftops, the vibe, the drinks.
Okay.
And I was just like, I was living in this element where I come back to Atlanta and I'm like, oh yeah, we don't have that?
No.
I know, it's not the same. It was in the back of my head, I know. But I'm still like, on this like food high.
Atlanta has, like, I think they say Atlanta has like a whole bunch of restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just not the same.
Oh my gosh, I mean, I just read an article, I think on Eater Atlanta, like a dozen restaurants just opened up last month, you know, and they're anticipating like, I don't even know, like 40, 50 more. It's just like,
we like to eat.
Occupying the real estate here and going into restaurants has really been a thing. And it's thankfully, like, we're catching up to all these other major cities. Yeah. But back to your original question, it's like, I think Atlanta is on that trend. You know, we've got Slutty Vegan, you know, really pushing that vegan but like comfort food thing. Like we're gonna make sure it's clean, but you won't really notice.
Yeah, which is what you're gonna have to do.
Yeah.
And she has like Philly cheesesteaks and fried chicken, but it's not.
Yes,
yeah,
it's amazing.
She had to trick us into, being vegan.
But I think Atlanta is actually becoming a really strong fitness environment too as a city. So it's like just tapping into a different mindset, you know. And there's categories of people that are going to be for it. Then there's people that aren't for it, you know. So
you can't do anything about
I like both. Okay, I like both.
My favorite city to eat in is New Orleans.
Wow.
Anytime I go to New Orleans, I literally just eat. Like I'm literally like, okay.
Are we doing crawfish?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, breakfast there, insane. I had like duck waffle, and then it was like instead of chicken and waffles, it was duck and waffle.
Okay.
And it was spicy, and I was like, who does this?
I am here for a good duck moment. Yes.
So I was like, okay, so if I had a city where I would like just travel for food, I'm going to New Orleans.
Hands down. Yeah. The spice bomb flavor profiles of New Orleans,
Gosh, and you could go to Hole in the Walls and get really good food, and then you can go to like upscale napkin restaurants and get like really, really good food.
Oh, it's so fun. I was there in July last year for Essence. Talk about a heat wave.
Right.
Steamy, but the food was good though. The food was good.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. Okay, so last question is sustainability. How important is that in your field?
You know, as a chef, like we have to pay attention to those things. But it's really about like if you are going to be a leader in your space in the kitchen or as a chef, like really like expanding your knowledge on that. You know, where are we getting this food from? Locally sourced. If it isn't locally sourced, why are we buying into it? But really just like, you know, that's why you see farm to table movements on the menu.
I've seen a lot of those.
And knowledge is power. But it's also like those two things have to go tangibly together, right? You have to know your farmer. You have to know your sources. I mean, it just tells a more beautiful story when it comes to the plating of the food and why you chose to make something.
Do you have a farm that you like to go to?
My friends at, oh my gosh, what is my market called? Atlanta Harvest. Sorry, that took me so long.
It's okay.
My friends, Eliyahu and his family, gosh, like when I walked into that market, it's super quaint. They have a market, they have stands, they have produce in the buckets and everything, and a nice, you know, farm to table movement where you can buy locally sourced soaps and everything like that.
Wow.
They have produce, they even source their chicken and their protein sources.
Wow.
And they're seasonal, so they grow with the seasons and, you know, they get volunteers. So I really, really have appreciated them so much. And so, you know, anytime I think about farm to table movement or bringing something like that agriculture wise, they're my first people I think about.
Oh, wow.
And they're Black owned and they are doing their thing, okay?
What?
Yeah, they are. Okay. Check them out, Atlanta Harvest.
Yeah, you guys definitely check that out.
Yes, literally south of the airport.
What?
Not too far from the airport, yes.
Okay, no, that's too cool. That's way too cool. Okay, before we get into the interview portion of your show, because this is your show today, we are going to talk about our Bossy brand Risque Babes, and it's on the table here.
Cute.
So this is a female Black-owned business, and she sells everything from beauty products to adult novelties. So we got a little bit of both.
We love a good lip liner moment.
Exactly. And it's a whole lip kit. So you get the matching gloss.
Hello.
And then she has these vibrant colors, and then she has everything. And then she has eyeliners. She has lashes. She does everything.
I love it.
She does absolutely everything. And then right now you can get any product over $100, you can get 50% off if you use the code Entrepreneur.ish. And the product that we are doing is a rose. So I scared Addy.
He's probably like, what is
He was like, what? What is going on? He was like, I don't know about it. But yes, we have a rose here today so that you guys can understand what this is. And it's 50% off, which is like crazy because these things are like $115.
Are they really?
Yes. Yes. So this is something like if you see somebody who has this, they really, really wanted it. Like, so now you can get it at an affordable price if you use Entrepreneur.ish on Risque Babes.
There you go.
So yeah, I love her. I just did an episode with her, or I just released an episode with her on my channel on YouTube. So
Okay,
I would love for y'all to watch that. She is an amazing woman. She has children that are autistic, and doing this business has helped her be a mom. And I think that is something that we really don't talk about. Like, I think we all kind of judge people on what they sell and things like that, but you don't understand
the reasoning behind it. Yeah.
Exactly.
For sure.
So that's why I will support her forever, and so happy that she is a bossy brand.
Shout out.
Yes, shout out to Erica. We also have a lot more Mother's Day deals coming. So you guys keep watching the episodes. We got 2 more things, especially for you guys who forgot that it's Mother's Day. You need to go run and pick something up this weekend. I got the perfect place for you to go. Okay. So I want to get into why you became a chef and your journey and how you got started.
Ooh, you know, I was kind of doing a little bit of a self-talk on my way here. And I was like, you know what? Like, out of all the interviews, like, I have slowly become this person that has been, like, opening up. Like, so many times I just want to talk about success and talk about the highlight moments. You know, it's almost like when you do an interview, you're doing your whole Instagram reel moment, too. And it's like, no, I have progressed into, like, being very honest and very raw with why I do this.
Because you said you started at 15.
So,
you know, I know there's a story
There's a story behind there. And, you know, and it also, like, becomes this whole jaded moment because, being a woman in this industry and me looking the way I do and kind of promoting, like, women empowerment and just looking your best all the time, I get this connotation like, oh, she's stuck up, or oh, didn't know she was this until I talked to her.
Why is that? What is that? Why is being pretty a crime? Like, being a pretty person is a crime sometimes. It's like, oh, she's dumb, or oh, she could never, or she couldn't do this job because she likes to do makeup. Like, I don't understand why a beat face equals stupid. So, like, how do you...
It really just depends on, you know, the book. I will say that. And sometimes you open a book and it's just like, oh, let me stay away. Or sometimes you open a book and you're like, let me keep reading. This is fascinating, right? So, but the reason I really got into this, I feel like I will say this, and I will say this 1,000 times, food saved me. Food saved me, and it gave me an outlet to really express myself, creatively wise, but also in a way that provided structure that I never had. Growing up, I mean, just a background story of me, my biological father left my mom when I was 2.
Oh, man.
And so my mom, you know, obviously, you know, found someone else that became my stepdad, which is definitely my dad, that raised me. And eventually my mom abandoned me in a way, you know, through divorce. And I was left to live with me and my brother left to live with our dad. And that really just changed my life. It really, because, you know, you're born into this world and being abandoned by the 2 people that brought you in. There's some type of, like, resiliency, some type of strength that you have to find within yourself.
Do you feel like you have to do it all? Do you have that type of thing that I'm gonna do it myself sense?
It's very like a self-reliant feeling, and I'm the oldest, so I do carry that. But also responsibility-wise, it's like, wow, like, I don't know. I've always felt like I was on my own. So, you know, walking into the food industry, they treated me like family.
Wow.
And I think that's why a lot of people stick to this, because it is something that's like, it doesn't matter where you come from. You hear the most amazing stories, or people just trying to make ends meet, and it's like, no, let me wrap my arms around you, take you in, let's cook this food, let's get this shift done. You know what I mean? And the camaraderie around that, and like, let's go out for drinks after. You know what I mean? Let's really build these relationships. That's what you see in the industry, and a lot of people don't really talk about it, but it's happening all the time. But food saved me in that way because I grew up very unstructured, and, you know, life was just kind of like taken away from me in a way, and I had to replace it with something. And I always had this, you know, fascinating thing about food and creating, and I just let that be like my passion, and it became something that I just centered around my entire life. Even though I didn't think I was going to run into, you know, going to culinary school.
Yeah, because you said you started off as a journalist.
Studied journalism. Yeah. So that in my mind, I was like, yeah, I'm cooking for fun, or I'm just making ends meet. Going to, like, having 2 jobs, serving tables.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Cooking during the day. And that was just a way to pay for college. But at some point, I don't know, the journalism thing just wasn't clicking for me. So my dad, he recommended, he was like, you know, what do you want to do for the next couple years? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? But I felt like at 22, 23, I was at a fork in the road. And a lot of people just are still trying to figure it out. And at that moment, I figured it out. He was like, you should do this or do that. And I was like, okay, let's explore culinary school.
What made you actually choose that? Because I know a lot of people watching are at that fork in the road right now.
Yeah.
And they're trying to decide which route do they take.
So I would say this because I already had a background experience with it. So at 15, I was already a hostess. Okay. You know, at 17, 18, I was already teaching cooking classes for kids and special needs. So my relationship with food was already there and kind of like how the operation would work. So I was like, if I roll into culinary school, it's really to get the degree and just to be like certified. To be but like, not official. Necessary at all. Not necessary at all.
So you don't have to go to culinary school.
No, but I do recommend, like, if you do want to make this like an all-time thing, a passion, and a career out of it, get your feet wet, work in these restaurants, but work in restaurants that are not just like one type of restaurant. So, you know, I started off not in quick service or fast food, but I started off in casual dining. I worked at Taco Mac as a server.
Oh, wow. I love Taco Mac.
You know, so I was balancing a little bit of both. And then during culinary school, when I decided to go, I guess it was a no-brainer. It was like well, of course I'm going to go. Let me just figure out how to do it and how to pay for it. So that's when working 2 jobs kind of came to play. Gotcha. But I enrolled into Disney for their externship program. What? And I was like, let me go see what this is about. I heard great things about it, how they treat their staff and just like the structured environment. I mean, and plus it's one of the top companies to work for in the world. So
very true.
Go to Disney, and I work for the Grand Floridian. I also work for the Polynesian Resort.
Oh, wow.
My mindset was absorb everything, right? So they put me at this like 4 a.m. prep shift.
Oh, great.
I am skewering meat, and this is for we know how Disney operates. Yeah. Thousands of people.
Yeah.
Like,
it's never a quiet day at Disney.
Breakfast shift, I think we're feeding 1,200 people a day. What? So the amount of prep work behind that is insane.
I could only imagine. 4 a.m. is early enough?
I mean, an intern, they're like, we'll just throw her there.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, I paid my dues.
Peeling potatoes and onions?
Cutting fruit, like big Lexans full of stuff.
Wow.
But, you know, that just shows you if you are going to do this, you got to start somewhere. And you know what I mean? It will make or break you.
Yeah.
So if you can't work in the dish pit and you say no, like, well, it's not for you, because at some point you're going to have to do stuff like that. And, you know, I was so determined. I was like, you know what? But my goal is to work at Victoria and Albert's. And that is a 70-person restaurant where everything is, you know, just intricate. You know, they even garnish and season the basil.
What?
You know what I mean? Like, okay. You know, it's ragu, it's all the beautiful things. And I was like, okay, well, if I'm starting off at prep doing all these, like, mass amounts of food, I'm going to figure out a way.
Yeah, somehow I'm going to transition.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to get to 70 instead of 1,200.
And that comes with some type of drive. You know, you can't just sit back and wait for somebody to knock on your door. You got to start knocking. You got to start asking.
So true.
And so I made that Disney experience my baby. Okay? I was like, I want to do this, and we're about to grow and nurture you. And by the time we leave in May, we're going to be ready. And that's what I did.
Wow. So did you time yourself when you were peeling stuff, or what was your method to stay focused on
I was in agony, honestly, because look, I'm young, but I was
it's 4 a.m.
I'm like, why are my knees hurting? Because I'm standing for freaking 8 hours straight, no break, just you know what I mean? And it just really humbled me. It humbled the mess out of me, because right when you think you're a boss and you think you can do something, no. I mean, I worked waffle station, I worked fry station, I worked every station imaginable during that internship program. But I'm glad I did, because I came back to Atlanta thinking I knew stuff, which I kind of did. Yeah. I got my feet wet really good there. I was like, I can actually cook for thousands of people, and I know the operation.
Yeah, people can't say that.
Oh, no, I walked into restaurants, they're like, yeah, right.
Oh, wow.
I was humbled again.
Did you have to prove yourself to be like, okay, like, did you have to kind of audition when you would go places?
You know, honestly, I hope restaurants are still doing this, but I mean, back when I first started, in fine dining, yes, it is still called this. It's called a stage. And so that's French for like a working interview. You do not get paid. But it's really to see how you work with the dynamic of the restaurant and can you keep up. It's for the chefs, it's for the line to see. But if you're really serious about it, people could stage for a month. You can stage for a week. But when I first started, I had to do a couple stage moments. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's really just to prove yourself, you know, like credibility, you know what I mean? Like, are you efficient enough? You know, it's not for everybody. But being a woman back then and being fresh out of culinary school, yeah, they're probably like, she's not gonna last. But it's like, okay,
you're like, I'm not gonna last. Let me show you something. Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah,
I love that. Where did that attitude come from? Because you said earlier, like, you know, you started off as like kind of weak and you weren't ready for that. Like, where did that come from for this drive and this kind of had your blinders on. I really, really want to go for this.
I think like emotionally for me, like, you know, my parents' divorce like really did something to me. I mean, my brother, we all kind of went through our separate things, but like, you know, you hear yelling and you hear like, you know, all these things that are bringing chaos as a kid. And it's just like, where's the outlet? Where's the outlet for that? Where's the end of the tunnel? And so I think that's the drive. It's not necessarily let me prove something. It's just like, let me get myself out of this situation. There's something better out there.
I love that.
And I'm constantly in that mindset.
Yeah. I love that something better out there kind of view. That's kind of, that's always, it's what you need. Yeah. It's really what you need. Like you said, you're going to have to start somewhere. Yeah. And if you cannot get used to the start somewhere part, you are never going to grow.
Absolutely. And then just realizing you can reinvent yourself no matter what stage of life you're at. You know, you can be 18.
Thanks
you know what? Like, I really don't like my circumstances that I was brought into, but let me change that. You know, you can be 30 years old. I'm having like a crisis.
Yeah,
I'm 30.
We were just talking about this.
Like, oh my God, I should have been married with kids or whatever, you know, dream life. But you can
that's women issue.
That. No, you can create that. And I'm a firm believer of creating these environments that you want for yourself and making it happen.
I love that. Thanks for saying that, because I think we all went through the, I'm 29, I'm not pregnant type things, like, and it's like, relaxed. Like,
yeah, and sometimes life has a better plan for you, and God's will has a better plan for you, even better than you imagined.
Wow. Thank you for saying that too. Okay, so since we're talking about God's plan, because you went from Disney, and then I imagine you did actually end up going to the restaurant that you had just said.
Yeah.
Right? You did.
Of course, I work in several restaurants that we're not going to hire her, but we need extra hands.
So, like, how'd you do that? And then you said you went from to be a private chef and start your own business. So, like, how did that come about?
So, I mean, I was so hungry to be in the kitchen. I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave my internship. I'm going to work in the best restaurants that I can. And at the time, Ford Fry was opening all of his restaurants. So The Optimist, St. Cecilia, Marcel wasn't around yet. But I mean, I saw him as a restaurateur and I was like, he's really doing something great. Wow. And, you know, just being in like a network person and just like, let me just try. Let me just ask. The worst thing you could say is no. And I literally was like, hey, I am leaving Disney, looking for a restaurant to work for. Do you have any, you know, openings?
Wow.
When I graduated, you know, I made sure I did that. And then I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. I think I was serving tables that night, you know, but I was like, you know, let me just try this. So working at St. Cecilia, which is, you know, it's like a Spanish, European type of restaurant, but very European, pasta focused, seafood focused.
Okay.
And I was like, this is it. Like, let me really hone in and try my best. So working both of those, front of house and back of house.
Oh, wow.
I was so like determined. I was like, you know what, I'm going to get the skill set. I'm going to, you know, work these lunch shifts and cook. Literally hat, button-up white shirt, clogs on, you know what I mean, slinging pasta, like just absorbing everything I can. And then at night, I would, you know, get dressed in my all black and serve tables.
Wow.
And it was like, I think I had a 2-hour break in between both of those shifts. And that went on for weeks, maybe a couple years. But at some point, it's like, I just woke up and was like, you know what? This environment in the restaurant is toxic. And this is not a place where I see myself growing. Because my whole mindset wasn't wasn't to be a executive chef for a restaurant, even in culinary school.
Really?
I was like, maybe food blogging or food styling. Yeah, I just wanted to make food a part of my life.
Okay.
So I had no problem walking away. And I think I was 25, and I was like, all right, there's got to be something else.
25, you're like,
25, 26. What can I do? I was like, all right.
You Googled it.
I was like, you know what? Is there a 9 to 5?
Is there a better version? I want my weekends.
Yeah. I was like, you know what? I think there's something else I can do, but I wasn't sure. But let me test it. I worked for a watch company. I was like, I mean, I don't even know if I was like a secretary. I was just like the go-to person on the phone, modeling watches, like really nice, expensive Rolex, you know, all these like nice watches. I was like, okay, let me do this. I did for a month over it.
Yeah, because you were like, I
was like,
this isn't it.
I have ADD and I need to stand, I need to walk. I'm like, can I go to Kroger? Do y'all want lunch? I was like, this is not for me. And I just, but you have to experience something like that to be like, it's a no.
To be like, no, I quit.
Yeah, it's a no. So,
and it's okay to quit, guys. Like, I need y'all to know that. Like, I think a lot of our parents have worked for jobs for 25 years, 15 years, this type of thing. Yeah. They make you feel bad for quitting. But I tell all my nieces, I'm like, girl, quit. If you want to do something else, you'll find something.
It's a different type of mindset that you have to tap into because one, you want security, right? So our parents or that generation working for, you know, that long of time have provided security and a foundation. You know, we're living in an age where it's just like, especially after COVID, it's like, man, people will drop like flies.
I can do a lot of things to make money and stuff.
You know, so it really depends on the individual and the mindset that you're going for and the goal. So, I mean, do I recommend it for everybody? Probably not. But if you have, you know, the skill set and the drive and like, I'm going to make this work, then yes, absolutely.
So that's the mindset that got you into starting your business.
Yeah. And I literally worked for a personal chef service where I went to houses. And right when I walked into these doors of these beautiful mansions and just like high income environments, I was like, oh, okay, we like this. So I can make my menu and I don't have to like work under somebody else necessarily.
No one's throwing a pot.
I had creative freedom and like the menu can change every day. I was like, oh, I like this, you know? And then I love talking to people about food. So I was doing both and, you know, really just learning the scope and the industry of that. And after a year, I mastered it. And at one point, I was like sending in the receipts, you know, seeing how the invoices were being creative, you know, just really seeing the marketing side of it. And so we weren't taught business, you know, or how to work for yourself. And just kind of seeing that and how much money was being made off my skills, that's when I was like, okay.
Switch. Boss hat.
You know what? We're 26. We're about to be 27. How about this? I quit. And I quit because I couldn't get my PTO, and I've been working my butt off for this company. And they were making so much money off me, and I was like, listen, I have an opportunity in San Francisco for Brides Magazine to do a photo shoot. I was like,
wow.
I'm
taking that.
Yeah. I was like, all 100%. Expenses paid.
That's the word.
But the owner was like, yeah, but you have a client, and we can't find somebody to fill your position. And I was like, I don't know what you're going to do. Like, this isn't my business. You know what I mean? But I do deserve this. So I said, okay, I quit. And she's like, you better not come after me for unemployment. I was like, nah, I won't, but I'll do something even better.
Right. Work for myself, make more money. You will see me places. You see me on TV now. So I bet she's really sad that she didn't give you PT.
but honestly, I needed to get myself out of that environment. It's like almost like that door was closing without me even trying to close it.
Wow.
And I was being forced into something else, into the unknown. So then being 27, business owner, you know, I've got everything together. I'm just like, wow. When I say that tunnel vision that I had went into this beautiful worldview of the possibilities and opportunities, I was like, this is it. This is it. We can make this happen. So
I love that.
Yeah, that's how that started.
That is so cool. So how do you find your clients? Because I know there are people who are private chefs, personal chefs, things like that. How do you find your clients?
I've never promoted my private chef business on social media at all. Not one time. And I'm 7, 8 years in. I've never said looking for clients, 10 spots open, dinner available. I mean, I see chefs that do that. Great, because you know what? Sometimes, like, you know.
Yeah, sometimes social media is your
talking
thing, and
to
that's
your audience.
place. Yeah.
you know what I mean? You'll get what you want.
I always say the best people are not on social media. I said that like a few episodes, like every other episode I say this.
Yeah.
Because it's real. It's so real.
I think what I do outside of social media is so much more fascinating than what it looks like.
Yeah.
But it's all been word of mouth, and it's all been like retained clients through that way. And it's been a high profile clientele.
So who do you go to events to find these high clientels? Like how do you start this word of mouth? How do you get that first person to start talking about
okay,
it?
so say if you're first starting, I mean, for me, I was kind of grandfathered in
just
by the experience. And so I already knew this is the demographic that I wanted, right? Because those are the people that are going to pay my prices. But if you're first starting out and you really want to do that, network. Go to these social environments where people are entrepreneurs already, even if you're not one yet.
Okay.
Go to these environments. Hey, you know what I mean? It's almost like not a fake it till you make it moment, but just really believing in yourself, because once you do that 100%,
you're like, I actually can cook, so
it'll be so transparent. And so like, who knows, you might meet, you know, the marketing director for a company is like, hey, well, we need food for, you know, our staff. And maybe the people that work for that staff, hey, we loved your food so much. Can you come to the house and cook? You know? So it's just really leveraging your opportunities in a way that's going to be successful for you.
What's your favorite networking spot in Atlanta?
Favorite networking spot? You know, when I go out now, it's really just to kind of relax.
Yeah, I bet.
But I do enjoy like grand openings.
Oh, wow.
Especially restaurant grand openings, rooftop grand openings, anything media related in the city. Like, I'm here for it.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to be seen too.
That's the busty tip.
Yeah.
There y'all go.
You know what I mean? When I get those invites, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be here.
I love that. Openings, because I get that question all the time. People are like, how do you find your guests? I be outside. I don't know how to explain it. I just go talk to people and I say I have a podcast, tough. And then it happens. But when I first started, I would not tell anybody about my podcast.
You would just go just to kind of see the vibe.
Yeah, and you know, I'd be on my phone or I'd sit in the corner.
Come on.
No, like
it's scary though.
Right,
it's
it's true. Like social anxiety, I don't know if but social anxiety is real. I know a lot of people have it, but for me, the biggest thing that it was the lip gloss, we good. But like the biggest thing for me that got me out of it was saying, you know what, I'm my biggest fan of my show. So why don't I talk about it as if this is my favorite TV show to watch? Because I will definitely talk about like Peaky Blinders as much as I want to, right? So why don't I talk about Entrepreneur.ish the same exact way? So
I will say this, like, it is intimidating, and you know, operating as a extrovert, but really I'm an introvert. But kind of like putting myself in these scenarios, like there are times where I'm going out by myself and I'm actually really loving it now. Before I'm like, I just need a friend to come with me, but now I'm like,
talk about that.
I'm like, you know what? No,
Let's
I
just
don't.
Go.
And I really don't. So for the past couple of years, it's just been like me just hanging out and just meeting people. But the thing, I will say this as like a little gem or a little tip, people love to talk about themselves. All you have to do, ladies and gentlemen, all you have to do is open it up. What do you do? Okay. Have you been here before? You know what I mean? Just like the slightest thing. If you just sit at a bar and you just ask somebody like a basic question, they will open up.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So I got to ask. Because what happens to me is I go do this, and then I get dinner offers and creepy DMs afterwards, or like, hey, do you want to be on my podcast? I really want to take you to Jamaica for a week. And you're like, all right. That's not what I asked about.
And then the proposals start happening.
You're like, that's not what I came outside for. Like, I actually would like you to be a guest on my show. So how do you navigate that? Because honestly, when people see pretty women sitting by themselves, that's another mindset. And then like, how do you get them to see you professionally?
Well, I will say this, like, if I can, especially when it comes to social media, like, this is a business at this point. You know what I mean? We are in it, and this is such a thing. Like, website, agent. You know, if you want to hit me up about an opportunity, like, great, send it to my agent's email.
I like it.
Like, don't hit on me on IG, you know what I mean? If I know you and we're just like chatting it up, cool. But like, don't do that. Don't do that.
People
but sometimes people shoot their shot, and maybe the opportunity is right. You never know. You gotta really filter through. But I will say this, like, when I'm in like business mode, it's business mode. Like, unless I see something there that could be like a friendship or something outside of that, but
like
for
the working relationship.
You know what I mean? Maybe we can partner together. You have to really just listen to your gut feeling and, you know, what's being presented. Like, if somebody's BSing, and I'm like, nah. I'm not a girl for a good time. Like, I'm a girl that's, like, I'm building.
I'm a real girl.
Yeah, you know.
You want to be this, you want to be in this environment forever.
Yeah, like, I'm flattered. Thank you. I appreciate it. But, you know, like, I'm very, very, like, picky when it comes to things like that. But no, like, if it's business, it has got to be business through and through.
How do you put your foot down? Because I always ask women that. People have different ways. So, I really just say the truth. Like, I'm a truth teller. I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to work. I'm not feeling it. Like, and I have to say it, and I have to say it as firmly as I can, because they'll keep being like, so you can't have friends? Like, you know, type of,
right. Guys are real slick. Guys are real slick these days. Honestly, I mean, what I will say, I'm like, listen, I operate as a business. You know, if this is social media and you're trying to hit on me, hey, this platform is for business only. Business only.
Love that.
Like, I'm happy that you're a fan, but this is how I'm operating.
Business only.
You know what I mean? Like, if you catch me outside, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
so like when you're at a bar, and maybe sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
Like, how do you shut it down in person?
In person, gosh. It really, I don't want to talk. So that's a good question. I'm a good judge of character off, like, you know, first kind of moments that we're having. I am divorced, so I kind of already been there, done that.
Yeah.
So, you know, kind of
feel bad.
Yeah, being out of like long-term relationships and now being fully single, just like, you know, like, I'm really just looking for somebody to grow with, and then if I don't peep that and if I don't see anything there, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, we could be friends, but like, I feel like I'm a flirt. So like, and it's passive aggressive. So even if I'm serious, people probably don't think I'm serious, but I really am.
But you're like, yeah, never gonna happen.
Yeah, or it's just like, nah, like, I'm out. Nice to meet you, though.
I am really good for walking to the other side of the room. I will just, like, especially a networking event, if I get, you know, you get caught in some conversations sometimes that you don't want to be in, I'll just be like, okay, I'm gonna leave.
But I will say this. Sometimes being that pretty girl in the room does open a lot of doors.
Ooh, yes. But can we
so you gotta know your strengths and your weaknesses, okay, babe?
How do you use your pretty privilege for good? Because I want to say that. I want to say that because I've even had family members say, well, you know, they probably just want to see you again. And I'm like, well, that's great. They can see me again on my show. Like, so how do you use that?
I feel like what you see is what you get with me. You know what I mean? Like, I am going to be bubbly. I am going to be genuine. I am going to be really interested in, you know, like, all the great things about life. And if we connect on that level, that's amazing. You know what I mean? But I'm never going to be somebody that's different than what I am. So I'm not going to be closed off. I'm not going to be mean. You know, I'm just going to still be me at the end of the day. And if that does happen, then it's like, you know what I mean? It wasn't something where, like, I didn't know this about you.
It's like, no, my personality got me there, not my face. I'm going to a kitchen, so I have to have more than a face to go into.
And look, like, people really want to work with people that they like.
Yeah.
So even my girls, you know what I mean? So say, like, it's a women's, like, boss, you know what I mean, type of meeting or whatever, or just, like, cute little, like, rooftop mingle,
drinks.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Women want to work with people that they like. Yes. You know what I mean? So don't be afraid to not be yourself, and don't feel like, oh, I'm better than, or, oh, I'm not, like, as advanced as they are, so let me just, you know, shy away. No, be you and be bold about that.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you for saying that, because I really want to help the women, because I hear this all the time. People just won't go out by themselves or whatever because they're afraid, and I'm like, you got to step out of it, because your future is on the other side of that fear.
It's okay. You know what I mean? And I think that just takes growth, and it takes experience, and it takes those closed doors or missing out on opportunities for you to really be like, all right, enough is enough. And, you know, you got to be sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't lead you
one
to
day,
water.
Right. One day you'll be like, I'm not doing this anymore.
You know what I mean? You got to take the sip. Like, boom, we're here. What are you going to do? So, yes.
I love that. Okay, so now I do want to talk about pressure cooking.
Let's talk about the show.
Let's talk about the show. You guys, if you have not seen it, go to Netflix and type pressure cooker and watch this. Now, like I said before, I watched the show before I even knew you. Yeah. And I was like, when when I figured out who you were, I was like, oh, we got to talk about this. Because the way you got off the show, and honestly, like, I want to talk about your experience on the show before we talk about what happened. Okay. So, how did you get on the show? Let's talk about that. Yeah. Like, how did that opportunity show up for you?
You know, I did not want to do this show. And
really?
I will say that because There's something about it, like you have to really see yourself, you know, doing something. Like you have to visually see yourself doing this. So like with competition shows, there are casting agents on social media. Hey, I love what you're doing. Maybe it's a generic thing, and they're like, hey, you'd be great for Chop season 37. You know what I mean? Or, I mean, that's usually kind of how these competition shows work. There are casting directors out there, and whether it's through hashtags or people that they follow, or it could just be something that's a genuine search, you know what I mean? They will find you, especially if you are crushing it in your industry. Like, hey, come do this competition show.
I love it.
So all of them have been through casting agents, and you know, it's the real deal, you know. And I've seen quite a few chefs do it, and they love it, you know. But this one was different. Yeah. This one was like,
you guys had to live together.
This one was like, was weird. What makes you like, you know what I mean, a command force in the kitchen? Can you really lead a kitchen? I was like, well, yeah, you know, the chef title isn't just something I put up there. Yeah. Like if you are a chef, you can run a kitchen. So I was like, okay, well, yeah, I think I can do that, definitely. I had a lot of experience already, but the thing that really got me was like Big Brother style. You're living together, 11 chefs. You know, anything can happen, but we really just want to see what happens. Like, you guys plan a menu, or y'all grabbing a drink. And so I was like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Because the things that I've done on TV prior have been cooking demos and like very structured environments. And like, yeah, if it's a fun competition, it's a 1-day shoot or a 2-day shoot. Or it's like I'm doing this cooking demo on national TV. So I've already had, you know what I mean?
Those like TV moments.
Yeah, I haven't had like, hey, let's just chill
and live together
and play pool
and then vote each other off.
That's the part, like being vulnerable actually did scare me. So it wasn't until the producer, like I did not have any intention of doing it. I'm sorry, producers, but you know, I didn't know I was nailing the interviews. So I probably did like 3 interviews with the casting agent, and then it went to the producers for the show. And I think I had 3 or 4 more interviews that way. And these are all Zoom calls. Wow. But I didn't know I was crushing it. I was just like, I'm just going to tell you how I feel and, you know, how I really am as a person. But they're like, I think they saw the personality in it. And they're like, okay. David, the producer, executive producer, got on the phone with me. He's like, listen, I used to work for the Today Show. He's like, we're not going to put you in a scenario that's not a good feel moment. You know what I mean? We don't want to see crazy drama, but we do want to see something. He's like, I think you should really do it. I'm like, let me think about it. Talk to my agent. My agent's like, well, if you really want to do it, you know, just know it is unscripted and things can happen. Just be mindful. And so I was like, you know what am I doing the next month or so? Like, I think I was casted in January, into January, February. We started filming in March. Wow. So I'm already cooking for a client. I'm like, you know what? I'm having these like honest conversations with everybody. My clients say, yeah, cool, go do it. It's for a month or 3 weeks or something. Still on the fence. I'm like, let me talk to my sister. My sister is 15 in high school at the time, or 14 in high school at the time. And I'm like, you know, I took her to Stone Mountain. I'm like, let's go do this hike. I need a clarity moment. Oh, yeah. And I'm like, what do you think I should do?
Second person to say a clarity moment at Stone Mountain.
Okay, yeah, I just needed to get myself away from the noise, right? Because I couldn't think, and I was just having opinions and thoughts. My sister, oh my gosh, I love her. She's like, so wait, you're going to be on Netflix, and 2, you're going to make friends. And what's the problem?
Oh, wow.
I was like, what? Wow. I said, you know what? You're right. I said, sign me up.
You know what? I love Gen Z. Like, the way they look at things is just, they're just like, go do it. It's an experience.
Sister, she is like, her sign is a Taurus, so it's just so blunt and so real. Yeah. And I hope she watches this one day, but thank you, sis. So anyway, I was like, you know what? Let's do it. What do we have to lose? You know? This isn't going to be the best thing I'm ever going to do, but it is going to be the biggest platform I've been on in a while. So I was like, let's go. So I literally packed my bags, I'm like packed. They sent a whole itinerary list of things, stuff we didn't even need, okay? So imagine packing for like a month and you're only on the show for like a couple episodes.
No, but they were, okay. Yeah. Y'all watch it. Please watch it. Okay. So, working in this team environment. You
Yeah.
said you're used to that because in the kitchen, everything is a team.
Yes.
How was it different when your cameras are on, you got 90 minutes to cook something with 5 other people on the team? Like, how was that experience? Because I watch a lot of cooking shows.
Okay.
I see the sweat. I see all the random ingredients.
Let me ask you a question. What do you think is happening?
Because what we think is happening is that you guys are real live 90 minutes, like, have to come up with the menu on the top of your dome and, like, start blending. Like, you guys just start working. How does it actually
No, you're actually correct. So a lot of these competition shows, like, the time is the time. So absolutely. So even on this show, even though it is reality TV, our time was a little bit more extended. We had a little bit more of, like, thought process to go into things.
Okay, I always wonder, how do y'all have such elaborate menus?
Yeah. I mean, but there have been shows that I've been on where you have to think a la minute. Like when I was on Raid the Fridge, I open a refrigerator and I have to really think as I'm walking from the refrigerator.
I love Raid the Fridge.
From the refrigerator to my station, that was the amount of time I had to think about what I was gonna make. But this was different. This was like, okay, not only it's not like cameras are on, cameras were already in the walls. You know, cameras were already watching us, so we're kind of like already used to that. But T, our producer, would come out and be like, okay, so this is the challenge. You know, let's pick our teams. So, like, they would take breaks, you know, in between. So we would kind of know, like, where to be staged or what to do. But when it came to menu planning, that was live. They didn't really show that. And I wish they would have. Because that's when you would get the real story as to what is going on. So team challenge, as a team, you know, it's not an individual thing. It's only an individual thing for your course and to put out. But as the menu is very cohesive, that was a team thing. Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the way I went down, like, I was like, look, y'all coming at me for making a salad, but the salad actually was not my idea. I was just like, let's do it.
Do you know what got me about it? Was that girl who voted you off was like so buddy with you, and I wanted to know like how you felt about that, because she really lied in your face and then like kept lying to everybody else, and like we see that in real life, but when you watch it on a reality show, it kind of it's like it's different. So how did it feel in real life, and then what did it feel like watching it back?
Yeah, so let me say, it's like I haven't actually really, maybe I have politically correctly, you know, said my own statement about it, you know, but I haven't really dove into that, and there's been a lot of time that has passed since January. So, you know, I was actually, when I got voted off, right? So the challenge is done, boom, boom, boom. Renee has to pick 2 people from her team. You know, she picks Brian, she picks myself. I'm thinking that's fine because I executed perfectly.
Brian's food was not that great.
And so from
see, thank you, Joe.
Yeah, and it's like, it's crazy.
Oh, see, cool. Joe watched it.
It's crazy because like each team didn't get to try the food. You know what I mean? So we were only going based off Liv's taste and her preference in food, which is, you know,
one person.
Very opinionated, and you know what I mean? So that's her. That's not the majority of chefs, how we think about food sometimes. And so, like, her critique back was just like, come on. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, in my head, I'm like, no way.
This is not happening.
So anyway, because, like, I knew my flavors were great because during the show, I'm having people taste. Okay, as a chef, it's like, I think it might be great, but somebody might be like, acid, salt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You need something with more body.
I love that.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, I made a salad, but I'm also, you know, making sure my salad is perfect if I'm going to do it. You know, even Brian, I went to Brian, I was like, do you need anything? Can I help? You know what I mean? Blast chiller's on. Get it in the blast chiller. You know what I mean? I was that team player. Unfortunately, it just went down. Like, I was going to be like, I think I'm safe because out of anything, execution flavor wise, I was there. But for Liv, she liked Brian's flavors, and she obviously thought the panna cotta was supposed to be.
Do you know what? I don't personally watching it. It was not the food. Brian literally went out and was like, I need y'all to keep me safe. That's what he did. He played the big brother part of the show,
and you know what?
More than the cook part.
That was the first time gameplay was being actually exposed, and since I was at the bottom at that point, Gina was also at the bottom the first, you know, episode. And so I actually voted for her to stay. So it was crazy to see that dynamic. But from her point of view, you know, she was on defense the entire time. You know what I mean? And gameplay was her strategy. So if that's going to be your lane, but also the chefs on the show were going off, you know.
Food.
Which
is what I thought you guys would be.
Especially in the beginning. Yeah. Especially in the beginning. I think, like, towards the end, you know what I mean? If you got to do some gameplay to kind of get ahead, cool. Yeah. But we didn't know it was going to be that early in the game. And her and I were roommates, and actually her and I were vibing.
Yeah, I saw that.
You know, and you know, there were other times like her and I were super cool, and I really was just like, you know, at the end of the day, I even went into confessional, was like, it's not going to be me. There's no way it's going to be me. It's unfortunate that Renee put me in this position, but I did not think I would be going down. But from Gina's standpoint, she was like, she needed to hear me say, hey, girl, I got your back. And you know, and that's fine. That's gameplay, and I wasn't thinking that way. I was still thinking food.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? And I think she did kind of try to get me to say it, but in my head, I was just like, nah, I'm going to stand confident and behind my food 100%, you know, and I'm not going to weasel my way or try to do that. It just wasn't in my head to do it yet. Watching that back and seeing like how that buddy system was working, I was like, was it necessary? No. Especially that early. I do not think it was necessary. And I will say this because we are talking about it. Like, I already knew whatever I say on TV in front of a camera, you know, that is going to be my character and that's going to show, right? You know, I don't know how many times she's done shows or TV or any type of media. Like, I hope she has grown from that and learned from this experience because I knew how I am on the show is how I am in real life. And, you know, if there's some type of sneaky thing going on behind closed doors, eventually you'll get exposed. And I don't wish that on anybody because, you know, man, the internet is harsh.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And her being young and, you know, I'm not going to say naive because she did have a play. But I hope this is a growing experience for her, especially because when the show did come out, I was like, listen, yes, there's a winner on the show, but I was like, there's also winners after the show too. And unfortunately, it's like the trolls were out. Because I feel like people can really see through that. And, you know, even if you didn't mean it or you made a mistake, it's like the thought process behind it was still there. And people see
loved that you were you. You were bubbly from the beginning. You were friendly from the beginning. You were like a super hard worker in the kitchen. Like, we saw all of that. And I
didn't have enough time.
It's okay. It's okay. Because honestly, I think 90 minutes to cook anything, like if somebody asked me to cook anything in 90 minutes, I would know how to do it. So like, you know, kudos. Because honestly, like you said, it took a lot for you to even get there. And then when you got there, you played as yourself.
I did.
I think that is
And I'm going to leave with integrity and I'm going to leave with my character. Every time I step foot into a door, even if I don't know people, whatever, like that is still going to be me. And, you know, and I feel like it's just kind of a skill set. Like if you have to operate in that type of demeanor as a person, you just kind of have to go through the ups and downs of life, you know, to figure out when to strategize, when to not. And like I said, I hope this was a learning experience for her. There's no, like, I have no hate towards it. I just don't have any tolerance towards it.
I like that.
And it was just a show, right? So at the end of the day, like, in real life, it was a show, guys. You know what I mean? It's not that serious. You know what I mean? If you're coming at me in real life with something like that. But I know my family was super proud, and my family was super proud of me for keeping my integrity and my character. And I was like, well, y'all already know me. Yeah.
I love that you said there was winners on the show and winners after the show. So how did this experience help you afterwards? Because like you said, that was January, it premiered, top 10 trending show. Millions of people have watched you on TV.
Around the world.
Like, how has that helped you in your career? Because you were already on Today Show. So then it's like, how does this happen?
I think it really just like catapulted me into just a different I guess way people viewed me, because now you get to really see my personality versus like, you know, I could be
the person on stage like, hi, I'm
like I could be super chill, whatever, my friends know me, but then it's like when the camera's on, it's like, okay, you know, I really like bring it. But that way, you guys watching everything, you got to see my facial expressions, you got to see like the side eyes, you got to see like looking back, I haven't really watched it back in a while, but like I made some faces because I was so relaxed. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's like I had my spurts of energy and then I had my real moments.
I was pissed.
okay. It's okay.
I was pissed before I met you, and then I rewatched it like I think 2 days ago, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Now I remember why I stopped watching.
I remember why.
Because I got so upset because I was like, "It's really stopped being about food the moment you left."
It did,
and then everything else ended up being like a reality show. But I mean,
but
that's the point.
What you want. You know what I mean?
That's
like
the
you
point.
have to, and I believe Gina doing that really, changed the game on the show. And so then it became this whole storyline. And if you really look back, everybody has a story on the show, right? Yeah. They have their demise, they have their up moments, their downfalls. So she really changed the show. So, I mean, that's great for reality TV. Hello.
You're right.
Like, it got
that's
juicy.
why they get you.
yeah, it got super juicy. But what else was I going to say about that? Like
what's happened afterwards?
After the show. So you know what I mean? I'm a big fan of celebrating every moment. So we celebrated that moment. My friends, my family, we celebrated that. And I did my press release, and I got to talk to different stations and just be really proud of myself, even though, whatever happened. But the great thing about it is it's that moment where it's just like you step into this different realm. And not to say that I got millions of followers. I didn't, but that jump was a beautiful increase. And that increase was like more credibility, like more viewership and more vulnerability that people got to see. And so now I'm working with brands. I have a different agent out of LA. And I'm really just like, I've always been about, connecting brands and, like an audience or a consumer. And so really taking that to the next level. That's what we're working on, and so it's been great.
It's cool. Yes. Okay, so that was my next question.
Yep.
What are your goals now after that experience?
Goals now. I am tapping being that person that I wish I had as a kid or as a kind of like an adolescent, not really knowing my direction, really being that mentor. So partnering with Big Brother, Big Sister out of the city of Atlanta, a beautiful organization. I've always wanted to be a part of it, but now we are doing a kids cooking class with the bigs and the littles, and we are literally generating this whole beautiful cooking experience for the kids and teaching about sustainability, where your food comes from the moment it's like in your hands to the finished product. Also working with some big brands in the future. Something that will really, really just, take me to that next level. But I'm still doing my thing. I'm still cooking, but I'm also doing my media stuff and really like honing into who I want to be as this, chef, media savvy. I mean, I don't even know what the title is. Somebody called me
boss.
No.
That's the title.
Oh my gosh. Somebody said something else that was like such a silly title, and I was like, no, take that down. Like, I'm still a chef at the end of the day. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think someone called me a chef-fluencer, and I was like, look, I didn't start this 18 years ago to be an influencer. That's just what you see on social media. But I'm telling you, like, outside of social media, no, it's the real boss stuff. Yeah. I'm like, no, take that down. Chef title, please. Thank you.
Chef title. Yes, because you earned it.
Yes.
You have earned it. So, can you talk about any of the brands that you're working with?
You know what? I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I'm not going to, just out of respect for the brand. And, anytime there is a launch, you want to, yes, anticipate the launch, but you want that to be from the right sources.
Gotcha.
So I will say no.
Okay.
But you'll be the first one. Yay! You will definitely notice when I pump it, for sure.
Thank you.
Yes.
I love to support people, and I love to, keep up with them, especially after they've been on the show. So anything that you have coming up, just send me the picture and I'll repost. Let everybody know what's going on.
Yes. I mean, I've had so many great opportunities, like working with Herradura and being honored as one of their extraordinary people.
I saw that.
Last month. That was just such a beautiful thing, like as creatives, because we are behind the scenes sometimes. And it's like, wow, like, you want to honor us? Like, it was just such a fun night, but it was just like, wow, for a big brand, Herradura, to do that, it was like, all right, we're doing something good.
Yeah, we're getting there.
We're doing something good there, yes.
I'm so happy for you. Okay, so do you feel like you've made it? Is the question.
No.
Okay.
Honestly, like, I'm still, like, going. So as an entrepreneur, like, anytime you start your own business, like, it is this roller coaster wave where even sometimes you're on a highway, you got people on board going to the next exit, then you got to drop people off, then you're solo again. It's I'm still navigating what that is.
Thanks for talking about that.
I'm always like, I didn't do enough. And it's like, it's crazy to look back because we've done so much already. But still my mindset is like hungry. Like I have still
What's your
more
made
work
it
to
goal?
do.
I think all of us have that like success moment. What's your made it goal?
I mean, there's okay, I would like to project a cookbook. And I will give myself this, like, okay, if we're going to do it, we're going to do this, and we're going to have a great story behind it. Yeah. So a cookbook, definitely. Host my own show, those are the two things I have not done yet. And I'm not saying just be a part of a show or a season, like really host.
It's your name show.
Yes. And I think, like, you know, whatever type of platform that lands on, I am going to speak this into existence.
Yes.
That is going to be the moment where I'm just like, wow, I'm proud. I'm really proud. I know my family will be proud too.
Okay, one more question. Yes. How do you get an agent? Because a lot of people might be wanting to, you know, make the transition.
Yeah.
Want to try to, you know, get their name out there on different shows like that. How do you find an agent?
Okay, well, I will also piggyback on that and be like, well, what do you have to show? And what are you doing?
Okay.
Because if you're just like, I just want an agent, or I think I can act, or, oh, I think I can be on commercials, it's like, okay, but what are you doing to actively do that? Because an agent, let me tell you this, an agent is not going to bring you anything. You know what I mean? Yeah, they might participate, but it has to be 80% you.
Wow.
And
thanks for saying that.
I am only 3 years in to having an agent, and it's hard. I'm not going to lie. Like, I've been through, like, hey, I'm super green. I don't know how to navigate this. To now I'm like, okay, I'm starting to figure it out. But you have to go seek opportunities. So if you're not already acting as if you have an agent, when you get an agent, you know what I mean? You're going to have to figure it out.
Yeah.
So I would say this, act as if you already have an agent.
Okay.
So start presenting opportunities for yourself. Go seek these opportunities, find the marketing person, find whoever you need to connect with, and act like you are your own agent. You know what I mean? So successfully complete a task.
Yeah, book yourself. Gotcha.
Book yourself. And even if it's like you're not well known yet, but the more you do it and you stay consistent, that motivation for finding an agent will sometimes happen.
Wow.
You know, like maybe it is people see you and you just have this like pop on camera. And they see that. Even if you don't believe it, they see it and they want to take you there. Or it's like, I'm working to have that you know, star eye pop or that oomph on camera.
Yeah.
And you work towards it and you do it and people will find you. So I will say it's a hard thing, especially being a chef. There's a small market for agents that work with chefs. It's not like being an actor where it's just like, hey, I just want to do commercials, or I'm an actor, I'm going to get put on these shows. It's like, nah, my side of things, like not a lot of chefs do have agents, but when they do, they honestly already get what's, you know, in store, the grind, the work, you know.
Gotcha.
And also it is networking. It is who you know, and it is who believes in you too.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for saying that. Okay. So
sorry, that was
No. You really dropped a lot of gems because I think a lot of people think next step is agent, you know, and then immediately they think, okay, now I'm gonna be on Netflix. Like people have these like these 3-step processes in their heads. Okay. So I appreciate you saying that. It's
let me
work
also
for
say
yourself.
this. How about this? Yeah, I did talk about like act as if you were an agent, but how are you going to present yourself? So do you have a website? What can people go to look at you? I'm not talking about Instagram.
Yeah, that's not a website.
That's just
thank you for saying that too.
That's just like
Instagram is not a website.
That's just like let me be nosy and see what their life is about. You know what I mean? Or if they are serious, or are they treating this like a business, or is it all fun and just like me? Look at me in this outfit, or look at me at this event. But there has to be some type of purpose behind it.
Gotcha.
So website. Do you have an EPK? And that is an electronic press kit. That's a 1-page, right? Do you have something like that if a brand goes, okay, we do want to work with you, can you send us your deliverables?
Gotcha.
Do you know what those deliverables are, what your audience market is? Do you have a short condensed bio? Not talking about 2 pages now.
Wow.
Do you have a condensed bio, 4 to 5, sentences? Do you have photos of yourself doing the work? Then do you have any references, or do you have any past experience brands that you've done work with? And then display that on your EPK.
Okay.
Wow. So, I mean, that will literally open the door because they're going to say, what have you done? And if you don't have anything to present,
and you don't have like a link to send them to,
you better go back and sit on that desk and get on Canva or whatever you need to do and figure it out.
Like that.
So literally go against the grain and present yourself as a business in every opportunity.
I love that. Thank you.
So those would be the two things I would, like, if I was an agent, I need to see, what have you done? Show me something. Show me something credible.
Show me something that I can push.
Yes. And, you know, the Voyage articles are awesome. Cool. That's a starting point, too. It's like, okay, you are getting recognized, but what else have you done?
Gotcha.
What does your Google search look like if I type in your name?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you just have 2 things? Do you have 3 pages?
Yeah.
You know, is it just you at the club? Like, come on now. You know what I mean? You have to really start presenting yourself in the way that you want to be seen. Yes. If you want to take it seriously. I will say that.
I love it. No, because I think a lot of people say they want to do something, then they get opportunities to do it, and then they don't give it the full thing.
If that was the case, everybody would do it, right?
True.
You know, you can sit in the kitchen and cook all day, and say you want to be on TV, but what have you done? You know what I mean? Are you shooting the videos? Are you putting yourself out there? Are you looking for these opportunities? Like, yeah, it's cool to say it, but it's just like, do it. Do it. Take the time and do it.
Love it. Love it. All right. We are going to do a quick little shout out to a new event that is coming out tomorrow. So On the Radar and ASCAP are bringing us Cali, Sleazy World Go. I could not say that name right. And Enchanting. They're going to be headlining a concert tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes, the tickets are only $20. And it is off Riverdale Road in Atlanta. And it's 8 to 1 a.m. So everybody can make it. I want to let you guys know they are partnering with Mo Music Entertainment, which is what I am a part of. And that is why we're bringing it to you. I'm going to be there. I want to see you guys there. So let's go. For sure. Y'all come listen to some music with me. I love doing stuff like this. I love
fun,
going
good
out.
Vibe, energy.
And then I get to, like you said, network in a place where it doesn't feel like I'm networking. I'm at a concert. But at the same time, you go, hey, what do you do?
Right.
End up making friends.
Yep. Exactly. And then you go to the next network together. You know, you never know.
That's exactly it. Okay, so now we have come to the fun part.
Okay.
We are going to play a little game. Yeah. We're going to play a little game. Yes.
I feel like I'm terrible at games. Especially new ones. I'm going to be like, what?
No, this is Truth or Dare, but the chef edition.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a question, and if you don't want to answer it, you have to do the dare.
Okay, y'all.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the very first truth is, who is the most famous person you have ever cooked for, and what did you make?
Most famous person? Well-known person? Dang. I will say it was an athlete, and, you know, we can't disclose names, but it was an athlete. I did do quite a few, like, meal prep options for them, so healthy, clean type of meals while they were doing their off-season training.
Oh, wow.
And that was super fun. It definitely gave me a different side of things that I didn't know before. But also, it wasn't something that, like, I wasn't capable of doing, because those type of people, you think like, oh my gosh, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And really, at the end of the day, they really just like good food.
Regular people.
Yeah. Sometimes they have no idea what these fancy names are. But you know what I mean? I think that's the fun part about it. You have this idea or this vision of somebody, and then you're completely wrong. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you.
Yes. Sorry, I cannot tell you names.
I know. It's all right. It's
but yeah,
okay.
we've cooked for some athletes before.
So since you couldn't say the name, you got to do the dare.
Okay, what's the dare?
The question was, who was it?
You can't be out here name dropping.
I understand, but I got to ask. It's my job. Okay, so
what's the dare?
The dare is you have to invent a recipe right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you a 30-second timer, and you have to make a dish with chocolate, spaghetti noodles, and kumquats.
That's terrible.
I know.
That's terrible.
That's why it's a dare. That's why it's a dare, and
spaghetti
noodles. Yes,
okay,
spaghetti
here we go.
noodles. Hold on. You got 30 seconds.
30 seconds?
Well, yeah.
Like, I'm over here buying time already.
You gotta explain what you're gonna do. Okay, so again, the ingredients are chocolate, spaghetti noodles.
And can I pull from different ingredients?
Yeah, you can do other ingredients from it, but those have to be in it.
Oh, okay, bet.
And go.
I'm going to make a chocolate cremeux, and that's going to be a nice soft texture. I'm going to take my kumquats and slice them. They're very tart, so what I'm going to do is candy those. And then I'm going to take my spaghetti noodles, and I'm going to basically bake them to get them a nice crunchy texture. And then I'm going to put a little bit of oil and put a nice, I feel like I'm going to go some type of chili and cinnamon, kind of give it like that kind of Mexican spice chocolate flavor. So we've got the chocolate cremeux, we've got the nice sweet tangy kumquats, and then the crispy spaghetti with the spice for texture.
That's so great. Wow.
Did I do that in 30 seconds?
Yes, you did.
Hey, listen, if you could.
She's a real chef, y'all.
I hit y'all with the
Yes, you did.
total transformation. And
What is a cremeux?
I do love a nice cremeux. So cremeux is very okay. Well, do you know what a pot de creme is?
No.
Okay.
You gotta talk like I'm from Atlanta. I eat hot wings.
Okay, so chocolates. Let's think pudding, right? But look, dang,
it's back.
I'm on Okay, think pudding, but think really rich and dense. So basically, the egg yolks and the sugar. You're gonna temper your chocolate, and then you're gonna add your type of cream or fat to it, and then you're gonna chill it. And what that does is really like congeals and like really kind of makes it like this soft but firm type of pudding. Okay. I mean, almost as if you could take a spoon and you could roll it kind of like ice cream. So that type of richness. But making a cremeux is super easy, super fun. And it's just like a nice mouthfeel. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Just look it up. Yeah,
okay. It up. I'm actually going to play this back and be like, okay, somehow we're going to make this dish.
But similarly, people make pâte de crèmes too. And that's, you know, when you put it into a vessel, and then you can also do it that way. But the key importance is getting that texture and then also chilling it too. Wow, I can't believe I did that.
You did that. You did that.
And then I kind of made it sound a little like intriguing too.
No, you did that. That was perfect. Okay, so you got 2 more questions.
All right.
The next question is, what is the worst meal you ever eaten, and where was it from? It's truth or dare, y'all. I got it.
Worst one I've ever eaten. Actually, kind of recently. I'm just gonna go off recently. So when I was in Baltimore, just we're just kind of killing time, and there was this like Tex-Mex restaurant there, and I was like, okay, cool, let's grab a margarita, you know what I mean? Like, and just like something, because I just got straight off the plane. I ordered this like fajita quesadilla. One, they put the onions and peppers on the side, and I was like, is this build your own?
Right.
And then it was just like, it almost looked like it was for like a child, like my 2-year-old niece would eat this.
Yeah,
like,
so it was just cheese?
It was just cheese and like just like chopped tiny pieces of chicken. I was like, what is this? And I'm thinking, there are a lot of Hispanics in this kitchen, and I'm Hispanic too, and I'm like, there's no way y'all are eating this. But I mean, I really try not to critique, but it's just like, when it's bad, it's bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, as a chef, are you hard to cook for in a restaurant? Like, or do you just be like, I'll make it myself?
But like, if I go to a restaurant?
Yeah.
I really try not to critique, like, because I really, growing up in that type of industry, like, it's a treat. It's a pleasure to be in an environment where you have great service, you have, you know what I mean, great
Somebody's
food.
Cooking for
it's just like 10. But then when it's like 3, 1, you're like, gosh, like, I will speak up. I think me and my industry friends or people I have talk about food, it's just like, dang, it could have been better. We know exactly what they did wrong too.
Okay, so what's the name of the restaurant? Can you say it? Do you remember?
I don't even remember. It was so hole in the wall. It doesn't even need to mention.
Okay, we're gonna give you a pass on that one.
It was terrible. It was so bad.
All right. Okay. And then, do you have a guilty pleasure food? Like, you know how Sweetie eats like hot fries on pizza? Like, do you?
Oh yeah. I saw her do that.
Something
wild.
Like that?
I mean, believe it or not, on the show, like, they would ask us crazy stuff, like, what's your favorite thing to eat? You know what I mean? And it's like, maybe people are talking about like, I love French fries with a nice, some type of caviar and this nice like creme fraiche, you know what I mean? Which, that sounds awesome. I love that. But I'll get real Atlanta, and I will say hot lemon pepper, vegetable fried rice. Hits every time.
Hits every time. You know? If you're from here, you know. Like, there's nothing like Six Peaks hot wings.
Every time I come back to Atlanta, I gotta have some wings. But another guilty pleasure is I love any type of Asian or any type of curry dish. Ooh. Like, that is comfort food for me, too.
Okay, spicy curry or sweet curry?
Oh, spicy, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
Yep.
Love it. Okay, my iPad died. But luckily, I have the rest of my notes on my phone.
Okay, there you go. Technology.
I know. Thank God for that. I want to do one more question because we got a little bit more time.
Let's go.
And then, have you ever had a disastrous experience in the kitchen? Like, you, like, tried to make something and it just did not come out?
This is a funny one. Well, not so funny when I was in it. So I was at St. Cecilia lunch shift, right? And our menu was this corn agnolote, beautiful dish. And then like the texture, crispy element was this cornbread, you know, and then you put under the salamander, get it nice and toasty. So you have to make the cornbread, and I know how to make cornbread. So it's like your own recipe. So I'm like, cool, boom, boom. Make a beautiful cornbread, nice and sweet, how I would want to eat it. And then I throw it in the oven. But meanwhile, I'm also prepping my pasta station, getting all these other ingredients together. 11 o'clock, you know, restaurant opens for lunch. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, that was the last thing I did. Let me just kind of do this. Turn my back. I open the oven, burnt.
Oh.
So it's really the time management there. And I was like completely forgot and just like forgot to even set my timer or even like,
oh man,
you know, to have somebody remind me. So let me go make it again. And now it's like, okay, once that first ticket, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's game time. So I'm like, right before that, I'm like, okay, let me make it again. Boom, put it in the oven. Tell me why I burned it again.
Oh no.
And I look at my sous chef and I was like, I like cornbread, I'm not ready. He's like, what do you figure it out?
We need the cornbread.
Figure it out. And I'm just like, I'm sweating now. And I'm like, I'm about to get a ticket. It's about to come out. And like, you know, we're about to start rolling. Tickets start coming. I'm like making cornbread at the same time. And I'm like, nah, I'm about to make sure this cornbread comes out. So literally third time was the charm. But when I tell you that like feeling of like having burnt food and you're not prepared.
Yeah.
And then it's like I told you, it's a team environment. So it's like if somebody orders that for the first ticket.
Somebody's going to be like, oh my God.
What? And I cannot put my dish to pass. Like, nah. And I look like an amateur. And it's like, nah, I'm trying to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm trying not to look like that.
I got this, y'all. Nah, we didn't have it that day. We didn't have it that day.
It's all right. We all have those.
And I really looked at my chef like, help, and he's like, hey, that's
no help.
You were responsible for your station. I'm like, oh my gosh. And the cornbread, like everything for like, I guess like pastry and stuff is downstairs. Taking the elevator downstairs, grabbing my ingredients again, boom, boom. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh.
It wasn't like I had everything at my disposal. No, not at all. Not at all. I got to borrow eggs from pastry. It was just like, man, I could not get it together. It's like, but that moment, I never want to relive that.
Yeah, I can understand that. I'm glad you made it through. You
sure.
persevered like you always did.
I feel like that's a minor thing now, but like in the moment, it felt like such a big deal.
No, I understand because I mean, even now, like I love cooking for myself. When it's cooking for other people, I'm like, yeah, no, I can't cook. Like I always say that because I do not want that whole who made this. That is the worst question you can ever get.
That is true. You know, I will say this, like, okay, cook for somebody like you're cooking for yourself, but also cook like you're cooking for your mom, your grandma, somebody in your family that you just adore. You better cook like that, and then if you like it, they'll love it.
Okay, I do have one question.
And don't forget to taste.
Yeah, please taste it.
Please taste.
Okay, what do you bring to Thanksgiving? Because I just want to know, as a chef, what do you bring to Thanksgiving? Like, what is your dish?
totally molded into like such a different person. So I used to like just do the whole shebang for my family. And, you know, growing up with my dad and my grandpa, like they kind of looked at me like, oh, you like to do it, so do it.
Yeah,
and it was great in the beginning. And then it kind of slowly went like, hey, y'all, I'm just going to bring the sides. Or what are we doing for Thanksgiving?
I'm bringing mac and cheese.
But I will say this, like, I really do love Thanksgiving food. Like, I love the green bean casserole that a lot of people don't like.
Oh my God, thank you for saying that.
But I like making my own sauce, my own fried onions, you know what I mean? Like, I do every process from the beginning, even though it's very simple. But I don't buy anything store-bought, you know, for that, which is
so
Campbell's cool.
Yeah, I was about to say,
you know
so
what
no
I mean?
canned
but making
cream
your
of
own,
mushroom.
yeah, making your own, what? Way better.
I would love to taste your green bean casserole.
Yes.
First of all, that's not really, I don't think it's a Southern thing. So, like, it's something I bring to Thanksgiving.
Okay, what is it?
Because people, I don't know, people don't eat it here. Like, you get greens and yams and.
Okay, now I'm like, what is this?
I don't know. Like, but honestly, I never see green bean casserole.
Oh, you don't?
Like, no. At any
Wait,
of my,
I thought you were about to tell me
no.
something that you don't see,
I'm not telling y'all anything.
Wait,
like, mine are
really?
always like, do you know what I hate? I hate when people bring baked beans to Thanksgiving. I don't think that's Thanksgiving food, but I see that a lot.
I mean, one time I brought lasagna, and I was like so proud of that. Yeah, I was like, let's switch it up.
Somebody talked about you. I'm sorry.
Honestly, but next time, and then I've had Thanksgivings where I've ate Chinese food before. You know what I mean? You just kinda, you know what I mean? Being traditional
relax.
is cool, but it's just like kind of switch it up.
Yeah, I would say me and my mom.
Yeah.
But it ends up being me every time.
Yeah.
She does a turducken. She buys all the stuff for it.
Hey,
and then
that's a process.
that's all I do.
And that could be your thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Bomb turducken. Boom.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the worst. I don't like touching things.
Oh,
so
okay.
that's why I don't like being in the kitchen because it's a lot of textures on my hands and I'm
Listen.
like, I don't want to. I'm a
Okay,
glove person.
Yo, going into culinary school, when I had really touched stuff, I was like, I don't know, because as a kid, I just hate getting my hands messy. So gloves are my best friend.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Slap them
Okay,
gloves
so
on,
I
cool.
could be fine with that.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Oh my gosh, my aunts get on me all the time. They're like, "Why do you need gloves?" I'm like, "I'm not touching raw chicken. I just don't want to."
I still do it like in the comfort of my own home. I'm still wearing gloves.
Yeah.
I mean, just from a sanitary standpoint, you know, I think it's better.
Mine's not even that. I just don't. It's the texture. I'm a texture person.
It's the texture for me. Yeah, I feel that.
Yay! Do you want to do one more dare? Because we have like
Let's go.
Okay.
I mean, since I'm warmed up.
Right. Since you got this. I don't know if you're gonna do this one. Do your best impression of a celebrity chef.
The only person that's coming to mind is Gordon Ramsay. Bloody hell! My mom has a British accent, so I feel like I don't think I gave her justice, but
gosh.
I do know they say that.
Do you know what is my favorite one, which is terrible, but it's the idiot sandwich one where they puts it. I was like, why did you let him do that to you?
Terrible. What? No way.
That was great.
Okay, cool.
We'll do another food one for you since you did
fun.
so well on that one. So describe your perfect meal: appetizer, main course, and dessert. 3-course meal.
Okay. You know, I kind of want to do 4 courses.
Okay.
I
Chef,
love
got
a
you.
nice little amuse-bouche or, a nice little palate awakening. I am really, I used to kind of shy away from crudos, but really kind of getting into them. Tuna crudo, scallop crudo. Even on the show, Mike made this amazing, I'm not going to lie, I thought that was just such a showstopper.
Wow.
Scallop crudo, so shout out to him because
Mike
that
is
really...
an amazing chef.
Mike is a scientist and
he was the first person to bring out that nitrogen.
Yeah,
that
and is so
nitrogen.
inquisitive about food. Love him to death. But I will say a nice crudo just to kind of awaken the palate, and then even just pairing that crudo with something fresh and vibrant, just to really kind of awaken those senses, because it really is a transformative experience that you're going to go on to. And then an appetizer wise, that's a good question. I feel like for me, food is such a mood, and it depends on my environment and where I'm at. I would say if it's cold, I would love a soup course, you know, something like that just to kind of wake me up. Or it just really depends. This is such a hard question.
She's like, I can make anything.
I don't know. A perfect meal. You know what? I'm gonna have to lose that one because
she didn't make the dare.
I feel like it really depends on like even with like how I get dressed in my clothes. Like I have to really feel it.
I feel you.
I gotta feel the mood.
That's really real.
Yeah.
That's really real.
So what I like now might not really be my favorite. I'm just probably saying it. But yeah. So did I lose that one?
All right. It's okay. It's okay. You did so well on the first one.
Oh my God.
It's fine.
That was great. 30 seconds?
Yes.
Yeah, pressure.
You did that with chocolate and spaghetti. I don't know how you did that. Okay. So what I always ask at the very end is I always ask, what's your bossy habit? What is the thing that you do every day that makes you a boss?
Okay. Like I told you guys before, I did not have a lot of structure growing up. I'm still working on myself, right? But the thing that I do love and that I am very efficient at are lists. And I like to handwrite my lists. I like to put them on my notes too on my phone. But I have these big like sticky pieces of paper, calendars in my apartment. And I will literally like categorize everything. I'll even have my personal list in my Moleskine notebook. Like I have lists everywhere.
Moleskine, you are the second person to talk about a Moleskine notebook. Y'all,
Shout out to my dad.
Are real. These are real things.
Like that definitely came from my dad, and it's such a cool notebook.
Yeah.
And it's timeless, and it's just like calendar, and you got room to write stuff. But I love lists, and I love checking things off. Even if I don't accomplish that goal for whatever reason, I will always go back to that. Even if it takes me years, you know. I will still go back to that and finally be able to cross it off. But lists and just looking at it visually, because I'm a visual learner, and I also have to hear things a lot of times too for it to make sense. But that has kept me honest and has kept me on point. I will say that.
Okay,
Yes.
list. All right, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I feel like your last co-host on your show, he did say working out, mental clarity is very important, and you know, mental health. And that's not something I will ever shy away from. Like really, really tapping into like your temple as a body and how you feel and what you consume, but also what you put out into the world too is very important. And I've always worked out my entire life. So really having that, and the moments I don't, I'm a mess.
Same.
I am a hot mess, and I'm not feeling good, even though
I eat random things out of nowhere.
Yeah, I can't see straight. Like nothing's making sense.
Like,
I'm not obtaining my goals. I'm just like living, and you never want to just be idle.
Yeah.
But yeah, just having that type of structure, I think. Personally, that does wonders for myself.
Love it.
Yes.
List and working out. I told y'all, I have a whole episode on my YouTube called Exercise is Essential.
Yes.
And I meant it because it's a real thing. I think most of the entrepreneurs I talk to work out.
Yeah.
It's just part of it.
I'm not a part of the 5 a.m. club. I am
Me
part
neither.
of the just get it done club.
Right. By the end of the day, okay?
There's a way. You know, sometimes we miss days, but we are accountable for our actions. But kudos to the 5 a.m. One day.
Exactly. One day, exactly. Put it, that's on the list.
I just do what works for me.
Yeah. I feel like I became an entrepreneur, so I don't have to 5 a.m.
There you go.
That's the point of me.
There you go.
All right, so our last bossy shout out is Tropical Bath Bodies. She is going to be at Pond City Market from 12 to 5 behind J. Crew, and she sells all kinds of natural soaps. She was on the show, I think our second episode, so you guys can go back and watch that.
But
that is a perfect Mother's Day gift if you guys have not bought yours yet, and if you use the code Ellie, you will get a 10% discount.
Look at all these discounts, gems.
Thanks, bossies.
There you go.
I love you guys. So again, shout out to Creative Visions for shooting this episode. Shout out to Live Hip Hop Daily for having me every Thursday. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
This was just beautiful. And you tapped into everything.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. You are going to do wonders.
Yay! Like you heard it here. This is a movement. I tell everybody, Entrepreneur.ish is a movement. And thank you for joining it.
Oh, no problem. Anytime. I will come back in a heartbeat.
Yes. Okay. All right. I'm going to hold you to that.
All right. Let's go. Hold me to it. I'll be here.
Thanks for watching, everybody. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.